Hi. In this video tutorial, we will set up the SSL Multyinstance solution with load balancer and global accelerator. First, we need to create a security group for your instances. Go to AWS console and choose EC2. In the left sidebar, choose Security Groups under the Network and Security section. In the Security Groups page, click the Create Security Group button. Set the name and description of your security group. In the next step, we create 4 inbound rules for ports. To do it, press the Add Rule button. First, we create the rule for port 80. Set the type of port type as HTTP. Protocol and port range will be selected automatically. For the source type, we select Anywhere IPv4. The first rule is created. Click the Add Rule button. Select HTTPS port type. The port is 443. Source type will be also Anywhere IPv4. Click the Add Rule button. Select SSH port type. The port is 22. Source type will be Anywhere IPv4. Click the Add Rule button. Select Custom TCP port type. Input 3000 to 3001 in the port range field. Source type will be also Anywhere IPv4. We created all needed inbound ports for application work. In the outbound rules section, we already have a rule we need. Press the Create Security Group button. OK. Now we are ready to set up SSL. Go to the EC2 dashboard and press the Launch Instance button. The Launch an Instance wizard will start. Set the name of your instance in the Name and Tags section. In the Application and OS Images section, type SSL in the search input and press Enter. Choose AWS Marketplace AMOS and select SSL Pro. Press Continue. In the Key Pair section, choose your key for SSH connection to your EC2 instances. Press Edit in the Network Settings section. We choose as West 1A as availability zone here. Next, select your existing security group created before. The Summary section, you can set the desirable number of instances. Left 1 if you want to have only one instance. We will create 2. Press the Launch Instance button. We see that 2 instances are created. Let's now create another EC2 instance in another availability zone. We'll do the same steps. Just in Network Settings section, we choose the West 1C availability zone. SSL setup steps. Let's try to access the admin panel by using port 3001 for all 3 instances. The first, the second, the third. We use default credentials, admin, to log in. Now we must change the default login and password for these 3 instances. This is mandatory and done for security purposes. We will set the same new login and password for all 3 instances. The next step is to create a user in Amazon with DynamoDB access. Let's go to IAM user service. Click the Add User button. Type username and press Next. Select Attach Policies Directly option, and choose Amazon DynamoDB Full Access policy name. Press the Next button. Press the Create User button. Select Just Created User. Press the Security Credentials tab. In the Access Keys section, press the Create Access Key button. We select the Other option. Press the Next button. Press Create Access Key. OK, now we have all needed data to set up AWS DynamoDB settings. Let's do it. AWS region is the region where your DynamoDB is located. For me, it is US West 1. Put AWS keys of our DynamoDB user. Access key ID. Secret key. Specify table prefix. If you want to maintain 2 different environments, for example test or prod, specify a separate table prefix for each of them. Let's set up Let's Encrypt email for all 3 instances. This email will be used for Let's Encrypt notifications. In a normal situation, you shouldn't get any notification from Let's Encrypt as there is the auto-renew process of certificate renewal. But if some certificates will be 19 days before expiration, Let's Encrypt will send you a notification about that. Now let's set up a default destination for all 3 instances. Okay, now we are ready to set up a load balancer and global accelerator. First we need to define target groups for all ports which are used by Kilos SL. Open the EC2 dashboard. On the left navigation pane, under Load Balancing, choose Target Groups. We need to create target groups for ports 80, 3000, 3001, and 443. Let's create a target group for port 80. Press the Create Target Group button. Left, Instances, as a target type. Set target group name. Select TCP protocol. Select the VPC containing your instances. Select TCP protocol also in the Health Checks section. Press Next. Select the created instances and press the Include as Pending Below button. Press the Create Target Group button. The first target group is created. Do the same for port 443. for the port 3000. And for port 3001. Now we can start creating a network load balancer. Open the EC2 dashboard. In the navigation panel, under Load Balancing, choose Load Balancers. Press the Create Load Balancer button. You need to choose Network Load Balancer. Type name of load balancer. For scheme and IP address type, keep the default values. We choose availability zones, A and C, in which our instances are located. Next we need to set up listeners for all our ports and related target groups. Press Create a Load Balancer. Let's return to target groups and check health. Choose the target group and verify that your instances are ready and healthy. If the status of an instance is initial, it's probably because the instance is still in the process of being registered. Just wait some minutes. Port 443 will become health status after generating your first domain with a certificate. Now let's create a global accelerator, which will provide us a public IP address. This IP address we will use later to set DNS records for our domains. Open the Global Accelerator console. Click the Create Accelerator button. Provide an accelerator name for your accelerator. Leave other configurations as default. Click Next. We add ports 80, 443, 3000, 3001 to the ports field. Select TCP protocol and press the Next button. Add one or more endpoint groups, each of which is associated with a specific AWS region. We left one group. Press the Next button. Now we should add an endpoint. Set endpoint type as Network Load Balancer. Choose your load balancer and press Create Accelerator. Choose your global accelerator. As you can see, 2 IP addresses were provisioned. You can use any of them. Let's set up DNS records for our test purpose domain. You can use a WS API for these purposes. For demo purposes, I'm doing this using Route 53 service. Let's create a DNS record with record type A, which will point to the global accelerator IP address. Now I will verify that this domain proxies to the default destination URL which we set before. It may take several minutes for DNS records to be updated on the internet. I see it works. And now let's create the domain with SSL from our admin panel. First I try to use the wrong domain value to see that the domain not attached error is shown. Now let's create a domain properly. It takes a few seconds to create the domain in your DynamoDB and to issue a Let's Encrypt certificate. We did it. By default, the synchronization process is set to run every 30 minutes. I want SSL certificates to be updated on other machines right now, so I will press the Sync Manually button in 2 other instances. You can see that all instances have the data of these domains. Now let's try to access our domain. The load balancer will proxy requests to one of our instances. And it works. We can check that we have trusted connection, which uses Let's Encrypt certificate. Let's check how this domain and a related certificate are stored in DynamoDB. Here it is. Our next step is to create a domain using API. I'm skipping the step of creating a DNS record for the second test purpose domain. I will use Postman to send an API request. I need the IP address of one of my EC2 instances to pass as a base URL. I need to create an API key on this instance which I will pass in the header. The body of our request contains the domain and GitLab destination URL. The full API documentation you can find on our site. Okay, let's do it. Sync it. Let's try accessing this domain. We see that it proxies traffic correctly now. Thank you for listening to this tutorial. Now you can easily manage SSL certificates for a large number of clients. If you run into problems during the integration, feel free to write your questions to dev@kilosol.com and our development team will help you.